Hey there, beautiful people. I want to talk about Acrimony, the movie Acrimony. I particularly like this one because of the controversy around it. There's a lot of controversy around this, and that's why I want to talk about it. I feel like the main point was lost. A lot of people missed the point of the movie, in my opinion, anyways. So here's what I think. A lot of things happened in the movie, and the first point I'd love to establish is that we saw everything that happened throughout the movie. We saw everything, so we kind of played a god role in the movie. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, we saw everything from every angle. We saw things from the guy's angle, and we saw things from the lady's angle. But the really disturbing thing about this is how people become very gender sensitive when the movie comes up. If you're one of those people right now, you might be already triggered in some way. If you want to be honest with yourself, you're probably waiting for me to say something against what you already feel because of your gender sensitivity. I'm not trying to make anyone feel some kind of way. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that this actually happens to people. Yes, it happened to me too for a while. Like, I'll be like, what is this? Like, I got pissed. But now, here's the truth about it. A lot of us are going around with a lot of pain and hurt. And then this has caused us to lack the ability to truly see things from a neutral standpoint. Okay, so first, let's establish that we saw everything that happened. We saw things from the guy's point of view and we saw things from the girl's point of view. But now I want to analyze it from my point of view, having seen everything and coming from a neutral standpoint. So here's what I think. First, the guy, I'm going to summarize real quick. So the guy did something that I think was really terrible, which was he was very selfish. All right? The guy was very selfish through the movie. And why would I say that? Now, he had a dream, a big dream. And the huge mistake a lot of people make is you have a dream in your head and you expect someone to understand it's your dream. You get? Now, he came into her life and she was in love with him. He was in love with her also. A lot of things happened. And then he cheated one time when they were young. All that happened. Now, bear in mind, this woman was trying to give this guy all the love she could. Now, let's register the fact that he messed up bad, but that mess up wasn't the real problem. The real problem was the fact that over time the guy became neglectful. She spent all her money, resources, funding the family and the guy's dreams, while he sat down trying to make things work. He got frustrated that his thing wasn't going through, and then he forgot that he had somebody. Now, let me pick this and show how this affects us as human beings. Now, for guys, I'm speaking for guys right now. A lot of guys have this behavior where sometimes when you're in a relationship, there's this guy thing. I understand because I'm a guy, and there's this chip on our shoulder that we feel like nobody understands, especially women, that no one cares for guys except guys. You care for yourself. I mean, when it comes to looking out for yourself, trying to make ends meet, almost no one cares for a guy except you're responsible for yourself. Now, for ladies, it's a little not that. It's, well, some ladies bear their own costs and stuff. They take care of themselves. But if we want to be honest, on a larger scale, women have more incentive when it comes to survival. Let me put it like that. Okay, I hope I'm not okay. So yeah, women have more advantage. So for example, say in a relationship, the woman is more likely to get the advantage financially, you know what I'm trying to say. But now, coming back to the point, many guys feel like we are responsible for our success. No one's gonna come bail you out. So we get lost in the quest for success. Just listen. This is the mistake a lot of people make, guys. Particularly, we get lost in trying to make ends meet. So here, I'm going to paint a very funny picture, well, like something I think about. So just listen. For guys, we have a problem with the divorce rate. I do have a problem with it, but to talk about one thing that we don't pay attention to, for example, if you are a successful person and you allow your job to consume you, you lose time for your family and become neglectful. Now, I'm talking about even the guys who have made it. You lose time for the people who you love. Now, here's the thing. People like you and I who sit down in front of our screens and watch this thing happen, we feel bad. Why? We feel like the guy worked so hard to make ends meet to give this woman and his family the best life possible. And then she turns around and wants to leave. But now let me paint a picture. Now picture this. Now, imagine the guy goes out in the morning, doesn't even say good morning or kiss his wife or even anything, doesn't even look at her, but he sends her loads of money. Goes out, does all his hustle, does whatever he does as a man, creates meetings and many other things, ripple effects from the thing he does, and then he just keeps on going and going and going, and almost never acknowledges his family's presence. But then he almost feels like no one should complain because he provides everything. Now, as men, where we make the big mistake is we don't want to. Well, we say accountability is a woman's kryptonite, but if we want to be accountable as men, let's be honest, sometimes we get neglectful. And as women, you can't blame them. It's in their nature to want to be seen, to be acknowledged. And many guys forget this. They don't see you, they don't acknowledge you. Yeah? And then in the end, when the woman gets tired and then wants to leave, you and I who think, oh yeah, he's provided everything for this woman, we get pissed. You don't know what this person has gone through, becoming a shadow of themselves, not literally being seen. It's not all about money. Don't get me wrong. It's good to provide. But create a balance. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, let's come back to the movie. The guy in the movie wasn't even successful, and then he was neglectful on top of it. He wasn't seeing her. He wasn't giving her the love that she needed. Now, let's paint another picture again. Imagine he got a job, or maybe a good job, a decent job, and then he was providing as much as he could while chasing his dream. Now, if they got broke in the process, I don't think she would be that pissed. Why? Because she would see him trying. That's the difference. So she didn't really get that pissed or that mad because he was doing what he was doing. She did it because he was neglectful in the process of her and everything around him. He was living in limbo. He thought one day you're just going to wake up and boom, become a billionaire from your invention. It wasn't like that. So fast forward. Now, he eventually got the money and all that. A lot of things happened. Now, moving on to where I think the woman made a mistake. Many times, and I think a lot of people do this, you let sentiments drive your decision-making process, or not sentiments per se. How do I put this in words? Many people allow sentiments as opposed to facts dictate their decisions. Now, in that movie, the lady had an ought against the guy, but it was from way back. Now, one would think that the divorce came from her feeling like he cheated again. Yes, it was a part of it, but the chunk of it came from, it was like, you see, when you hear like the 100th strike is not what broke the rock, but the impact of the previous 99. That's what happened there. She had swallowed for a long time a lot of things like pain and agony, and her family had been telling her this guy is no good. Don't forget, at this point where she wanted to divorce the guy, he had gotten a job, and this divorce was centered around a so-called cheating, which never took place. Now, she didn't know it didn't happen, but you and I know it didn't happen because we saw everything from You understand what I'm trying to say? We watched the movie and we saw everything. But she was making a sentimental decision based on emotions that she felt he was neglectful. She still loved him, by the way, regardless of everything that happened. But she felt some kind of way. I don't think she would have divorced him if she had made her decision by herself. Now, if you remember clearly, when the divorce happened, it was in a room full of the family members. It was almost like a panel of judges. It was like a sentence for the guy. He came in, it was like there was no, he had no chance. Clearly, he was made to sign the divorce, even though he begged. Remember, he begged her and she still divorced him. Now, this was her mistake. She allowed people and sentiments into her private decision-making space. That's the mistake she made. First mistake she made, by the way. Now, moving on, the same people who made her make that decision, don't forget, they were making barbecue right outside her house while trapping her inside as a psycho. Same people, not a different set of people. Same people. Tagged her a psycho. They forgot 2 seconds ago they pushed her into the divorce. So now the thing is, when you make that decision that people make you make, you're going to bear the consequences. Oh, and they'll probably talk about how you're crazy because of how you're acting. See, that's a big problem. Now, moving on. See, the thing is, if the guy, or say, okay, now, again, if the guy didn't get rich, most ladies would have said good for him. But now, that's not what many people said. A lot of people got triggered. Be honest. Take sentiments aside. You got triggered because he got rich and you felt automatically he owed her everything. Don't forget, she just divorced him, even with all the plea. That happened. You saw it, I saw it. Let's not deny it happened. Keep sentiments aside. Yeah? Now, she did that and expected him to just dump a lady who helped him. Yes, she came in like at the last minute, but this happens in life. This happens in life. Do you understand? In life, we have seen men take women through school, they come out and marry somebody else. And we expect the guy to just move on. And yes, he's expected to move on. This is like, it happens, yes? We know it does happen. A lot of guys have sponsored the lives of women, and then they cut ties with these men, and you expect them to move on. It's like, move on. It does happen, yes. But in this case, it was even different. It wasn't even that like that. He gave her $10 million. Many women argue that wasn't enough. Okay. If you remove sentiments and tell me how that was not enough. You argue she lost her womb and forget that we are all responsible for our actions. Yes, you are and I am. Okay, now, she hit her car in that van many times. No one made her do it. Her anger pushed her. Yes, her anger pushed her to do it. In another scenario, just imagine someone calls your mom some derogatory name, or your dad, or someone says something really crazy about your family. Are you going to pick a gun and shoot the person dead? Okay, go ahead. To paint another scenario, if someone said something really bad to you and you don't like it, or someone did something crazy to you, or maybe someone lied to your boss and cost you your job, are you going to pick a gun and kill the person? Well, if you do, you'll be charged for murder, and that's true. You're going to jail. Well, it depends on where you are. You'll probably be killed. It depends on the zone. But the point is you pay the price. You will pay the price. But we can all agree that someone cost you your job before you shot them. But you will be responsible for the action that follows. But somehow we want to excuse her action. We want to say he caused it. Yes, I'm not saying he didn't trigger what she did, but I'm saying she could have controlled her emotions. Now, he gave her that money. Fast forward back to where we were. where we are rather. So he gave her that money and then she felt it wasn't enough. I understand the sentiment around it, but he did what he did and he tried. Don't forget, this is a guy who 2 seconds ago had just been accused of something he didn't do. She said he cheated and divorced him over something, over an allegation that he didn't do. Do you understand? Now, of course, don't forget, we saw that even though we can say she didn't know. This is why I said she should have made her decision by herself if she knew she still loved him. Okay? Now, moving on, or moving forward, when everything happened, at the end of the movie, most of us got pissed and picked sides. Alright, so I'm going to be honest. To an extent, I got pissed with the guy so bad at some point. Like, I was like, who does this to another person? Because you know they love you, you let them get lost in the process because you just let them give everything because you know they love you. People do that. It's toxic. The guy did it. But then she had her own part. Don't forget that his neglect for her was not born out of his hate for her or anything like that. It was born out of his love for what he wanted to do, and he's lost in the process of it. He got lost in the process of it. So now, over the years, a lot of things happened. She even brought a guy to the restaurant. Yes, she brought a guy to the restaurant where he was working eventually to show him that she was now with someone else. She did that. Do you know how hurtful that is as a person? Think about it. So both parties clearly had their parts to play. They both had their blames to take, but most of us chose to pick sides. Now, let's talk about the lessons of the movie. I think the lessons of the movie, or the big lesson of the movie was, first, accountability. Was to teach us accountability. That's one. Two, make your decisions by yourself so that when the consequences come, you bear them and understand this was my choice. 3, this is very important. Pay attention to someone. If you want to be in a relationship, be in a relationship. You can't come into a relationship and not want to make adjustments to accommodate someone whom you are inviting into your life and your space. That's selfish. Asking someone to come into your life and just meet you like that, the way you are, and you're not willing to make any changes. But you want them to make changes. Everyone wants people to make changes, some kind of changes, just to adjust. But you don't want to make changes. Selfish. So many people are neglectful about the way you make people feel. And this is the huge point of it. So I feel like the movie was like a huge pack of lessons, and we threw the lessons away and chose to fight. Again, because of the whole gender war thing that has been going on. It's crazy. So, if you're one of the people who have found yourself arguing about the gender thing, picking sides whenever you hear the movie, slow down, watch the movie again. But this time, not to condemn anyone. Pick the points. Trust me, it's a whole pack of lessons. Alright, so guys, that's it for the movie Acrimony. With that, I'll see you again next time. Peace.